Hi, my dear Astro family. Today we are going to be talking about the upcoming new moon in the sign of Leo. And this is the second new moon actually happening in Leo. So therefore, this is a rare occasion. It is called a blue new moon. So I hope you will enjoy this video. And then if you do so, please press like and subscribe to the channel. I would like to make a very exciting announcement. I am going to be holding a retreat in Mexico from 6th of November. It's going to be 5 days and it's all about predictive techniques, how to bring them together, how to become your own personal astrologer. So if that's something you are curious about and you want to sign up, then you might want to be checking out the link below. There is a very detailed brochure on my website available. You can download it and then you can read it through, where I give you tips and hints about where to stay and so forth, how to get there. And I think the price is very reasonable as well. So I hope to see you there and meet you in person. Let's get started with this new moon in Leo. So it's going to be happening on the 16th of August, 23 of Leo, which is actually happening on a Taurus dwat. So again, bringing Taurus and Leo together is the love of self. It's love of expressing your creativity, love of entertainment, for example, but also the love of kind of like vanity, spending money, and so forth. Now, when there is a new moon happening, you know what? It's very much about setting intentions. We all have got a Leo cusp in our chart. So there is a little bit of a more focus there this year, just because we've got two new moons. Now, when there is a new moon in the sign of Leo, you know what? It wants us to look at our leadership style. Whether you are sitting in the driving seat of your car, where is your inner strength? Are you resilient? It really wants you to embrace your authentic self. It wants you to be a confidence. It wants you to actually love yourself, basically. So, by the way, a blue moon is when there are two new moons or two full moons in the same zodiacal sign within a year. So, therefore, because we've got two new moons happening in the sign of Leo, there is pretty much of a special focus in 2023 for you. And I feel like that this should be a focus every single year to be the authentic self of us, of ours, and to be able to love ourselves as well. You know, but the new moons, as I said, it's about intentions, setting intentions, planting the seeds, what you want to be manifesting, what you want to be actually achieving in the next 6 months. New moons are new beginnings, therefore, something needs to be released as well at the same time, making a space for any type of opportunities to enter into your life. So, what is Leo archetype about? You know what it's about? Sparkle. It's about feeling lively again. How am I gonna be seen? How am I gonna be shining? How am I gonna be in the center of the attention somehow? And you know what? Sometimes it's about vanity as well, right? So I want to look nice. I want to dress up nicely. I want to have nice earrings. I want to be expressing my personal style. This is going to be a topic here because the new moon has got this conjunction to the retrograde Venus too, which is about our style, likings, and so forth. This is telling you that, you know what, I need to be colorful if I want to. I need to be artistic. Maybe I need to do some decorations, for example, in my home environment or workplace or something like that. Beautifying something. But you know what? More importantly, celebrating who we are, allowing others to celebrate us as well. It's kind of like bringing or making a party, for example, inviting friends and family around. And then these people can show appreciation and gratitude to you. But also at the same time, it's time to show appreciation to others as well. You know what? It's a good time to reflect on what you have achieved in your life. And And remember, every single of us has achieved something. There is always a moment to remember and to celebrate something. It's not just about, that, oh, I'm a CEO of a company and so forth. This is telling you that every day I wake up and I'm healthy and I need to be happy about it. So it's time for some type of celebration. And we don't need to feel guilty about wanting to live and wanting to boost your vitality somehow. Also, this can talk to you about pouring your heart into a project you have got so much passion about. Leo is a sign of self-expression, creativity, and to a certain extent, enthusiasm as well at the same time, surely. This is telling you to do something you truly enjoy, something which brings you joy, something that is kind of like uplifting your spirit. Maybe it is telling you to spend a little bit more time with your hobbies, but also just the fact that maybe your hobby is your work, then you can spend a little bit more time. The sun is our wants and the moon is our needs. So these are meeting, these are fusing. What are my needs and wants, and how can I bring them together? Because it makes me feel complete. Also, Leo is about romance. So it tells you that it's time to express how you feel about something. Leo is pretty much the heart center, the heart chakra. So do I feel that I'm in love and then I wanna tell people, I wanna scream that out loud to others? So it tells you to open up your heart chakra a little bit. Maybe it could talk to you about having a heartfelt conversation. For example, if it happens in your third house or seventh or even 11th as well. It could talk to you about showing your creativity to some of the people actually you appreciate, love. But also it can tell you to go and dance and paint or draw or sing, or the bottom line is to have fun, to be awakening your inner child a little bit. Um, because psychologically speaking, sometimes we have to lift ourselves out of poisonous situations. And let's say we're going to have to go on holidays, for example. So, yes, of course, it can lead to a little bit of a laziness as well. But definitely, it could also talk to us about just being around our friends and having a good old laugh, basically. Now, this new moon has got so much aspect to it. So, I just want to cover those for you. One of them is a exact, exact square to Uranus. So basically, the new moon is happening on 23:17 and Uranus is sitting on 23 degree. You know what? A square is a bit of a tension. Let's be honest. Uranus is kind of wanting us to get out of our comfort zone. Obviously, it happens in the sign of Taurus, which is about stability, finances, sustainability. Uranus wants to bring some type of changes, and then Taurus says, "No, we have no money for fun. We just need to watch how much we've got." So then we have got this type of tension. Now, of course, this combination doesn't tell you that you're gonna have to get out there and, make some very bold moves. It just tells you to do something you enjoy truly, which brings you some type of happiness overall. So now, Uranus always brings surprises. It makes us rebellious. It brings some sudden events, for example. It wants you to get out of our comfort zone, but also, new moons and Uranus typically is a relationship aspect as well, but something to do with the relationship between us and others, or between me and the inner child within me. So, in a positive way, Uranus would necessarily talk to us about a breakthrough, an innovated version of yourself, or a sudden awakening which is going to allow you to free yourself up from any of the chains and limitations. I mean, think about Uranus as Prometheus, right? So he was chained up because he gave the fire to the humankind. And then, he was suffering, but his liver always grew back, right? He was suffering because his liver was eaten by some crows and stuff like that. So something to be broken away or broken free from. And for some reason, with Taurus, which is about self-love, which is about your financial limitations, this could talk to you about the fact that actually, you know what, I can make money out of my hobbies. I can actually earn money from something I truly enjoy, and I don't need to get stuck, for example, at a workplace I truly hate. We have got, but also, what does happiness means to you? That could be also a question here, So, first of all, Venus retrograde is there. So this is a topic which has already come up for you. Then we have got this Uranus, which is actually definitely a change maker. Sometimes it brings us some shocks. Sometimes it becomes a little bit volatile as well, especially if we are stubborn about something. So Venus has been retrograde since what? July 22nd, and it wanted us to reassess and reevaluate everything when it comes to our financial stability, for example, but also how our relationships are working in our lives. Right, and then that's why we say that with Venus retrograde, often an old liver is coming back and so forth. But also, loads of self-doubt could be coming up as well, actually. Whether I'm lovable, whether people, appreciate me, and all those type of things. So, most importantly, this is also the relationship within the self. And we have got Uranus there, who is bringing a little bit of a disruption there. Let's say a new moon is about new beginnings, so you want to set intentions. But then Uranus is actually twisting the road a little bit for you. You set the intentions, you go on that path, and then all of a sudden something happens, right? And this is about your own security. So imagine that you are applying for a new job, but then all of a sudden you get via post a large bill you have to pay by the end of the month. Then you just say, but I'm just choosing the secure one overall. So often Uranus brings a bit of a chaos into our lives. It's going to shake things up a little bit, but definitely it's a liberating process as well at the same time. However, Uranus has got a nice aspect going on with Mercury and Mars in Virgo as well. So you know what, Virgo is more, it's an earth sign, so it tends to be grounding a little bit. So while Uranus is, bringing sudden and unexpected things into our life, Mercury and Mars is has got the ability here to focus, to do some problem solving, to kind of move things a little bit forward. It doesn't necessarily act out immediately like, oh, what am I gonna do? So it is not as bad as it sounds. Actually, I pretty much like this, but there is the silver lining also with Mars and Mercury. The brain could go extremely fast, and Virgo says, no, let's approach it from a methodical way. So take your time. If a problem arises, then just take a moment, take a deep breath, rather than, starting to shout, for example, with Mercury and Mars. Virgo doesn't necessarily do that anyway. It's not their style overall. Okay, so we've got that. Then the new moon has got this trine to Chiron as well. You know what? Chiron in the sign of Aries is really about healing the self. It's about bravery, it's about adventure, daring to do something. So I feel like this aspect is bringing us the opportunity to heal our self-esteem, to actually help us to sort out some of our love issues, whether it's self-love or the ability to be loved or to love others. But this could definitely increase our confidence. We can become more authentic. We dare to speak up. That was the other problem in the previous lunation, right? We had Mercury involvement. For example, there we've got an ongoing T-square going on there. So what we spoke about was that we might not be speaking up, we might be afraid of, expressing who we are. Maybe you had time to contemplate on that, and then you became a little bit more confident, and then you are okay now to share your own story, and that is exciting. Yes, also, the Venus retrograde does tell us that we've got some, kind of changes coming up in the relationship department, in our finances, or when it comes to what's important and what's not important, right? It's retrograde. So it's about reassessing things, having a look at the second time to reevaluate certain type of things in our lives, you know uh, so I feel like this new moon is really about playfulness and the inner child. And you know what? I'm a queen. I'm a king. Let's say that out loud at all times. And boldly, I'm gonna dress like a queen or a king. And it's okay. Just follow your heart desires. It's a Leo energy, which is very much about taking pride in your authentic self. That we are all individuals, we are all unique, you know, and be generous to yourself, but also be generous to others as well. Leo, right? It's a fire sign. So it is about enthusiasm. So be enthusiastic about who we are. Loads of pride involved here, Um, so, and of course, we are in the pride season as well when it comes to the LGBTQ and plus whatever name it has got. So we can have these type of stuff coming up, in the world in a way, accepting yourself, and we can see more of these psychological videos. Remember, you have got a Leo somewhere in your chart. So that's where you can do some improvements now. But just approach that house topic a little bit more from a playful way. And I feel like that's going to be the solution there. So Mars is, of course, sextiling this new moon. So it's actually prompting you to start fresh. It's prompting you to be courageous. But as I said, it wants you to approach things more in a methodical way, not to rush into something. Also, we've got this sextile to Vesta in the sign of Gemini, and Vesta is about focal ability, but also something to do with your sacred missions. So your mission for the next 6 months is self-love. And on top of that, we've got two more aspects going on. One of them is the almost exact conjunction to Black Moon Lilith. Now, I think I did speak about Black Moon Lilith in the previous New Moon video, but Black Moon Lilith is very much like a rebellious female archetype, the first wife of Adam who refused to eat, sorry, who actually had a bite of the forbidden apple, and basically she just wanted to leave, she wanted to do things in a different way. So this is something to do with the rights of women. This is something to do with about speaking the truth somehow. So we might be seeing, more and more females talk about something to do with sex, sexuality, and so forth. This is not something I would be shocked about anyway, because I can already see loads of loads of kind of like short videos about these type of stuff. But of course, at the same time, um, um, Black Moon Lilith, which is, by the way, something to do with the furthest point of the moon from the ecliptic and so forth. So it's kind of like a little bit of an anti-happiness point. So at least for me. So that would talk to us about definitely the need to look at what makes us unhappy, what is blocking us from embracing our creative side, and so forth. And then you know what? You want to have that apple, then have it. You know, who is going to stop you from that? Why are you allowing to, why are you, why are others are stopping you from being who you are truly? you know so there is a major one also here, and the other one which I'm actually seeing here, that we have got this very tight conjunction to another asteroid called Urania. Urania's astrological number is 30, if you wish to look at where it is. It was discovered in 1854. It has got an orbit of 3.64 years. Urania is actually one of the muses, one of the daughters of Zeus, and she is the goddess of astronomy and astrology, but also she is in charge of universal love as well. Interesting that she is one of the muses, right? So it is about being inspired. Also interesting that astronomy and astrology as well. At one point, astronomy and astrology were one, but then they got separated. Uh, Interesting. I mean, she does have very similar meanings to Uranus. But Uranus is the female archetype of Uranus, basically. So obviously, it's more intuitive. It's more, more intuitive. So Urania is about abstract knowledge. It's about mathematics. It's about divination, higher knowledge. You know what? Her symbol is connected to a compass, and that would talk to you about the life directions. Also, it could talk about numerology or science, geometry, physics, cosmology, symbolic systems, and so forth. You know what? Maybe you want to be having a reading, for example. That could be a great one. Maybe you get some divine insight about something. And interesting that we've got Urania and Uranus involved as well. So I feel like maybe there is going to be a little bit of a target on the astrological community, or there are going to be loads of news in regards to astrology or astronomy. Maybe it's some type of new discoveries overall. The other thing is that Urania was the patron of musicians as well. So this is definitely somehow putting a musician, a singer, an entertainer somehow on the front page of newspapers. The mythology says that Urania was the one who created the ethereal music, which actually had to create the earth. And she was even playing the harp as well. Um, there is another asteroid called Cassandra, and she gave back her ability to see the future as well. And that was taken away by Apollo, by the way. But anyway, that's maybe another story. And even her children, one of them was Linus, also was a musician as well. So something to do with music is actually coming up here, the music industry. Maybe with a new moon, there is going to be a new talent show starting, which is going to be dividing people's attention. Or maybe it's going to be, um, it's not just necessarily music related, but dancing. So something to do with creativity, right? Because also Urania was a teacher to others as well. Sometimes I think what happens is with Uranian and Uranus being involved, and we become overly overthinking things. We become too logical. We are trying to approach everything from a rational point of view. And of course, these are very, both Uranus and Urania are very intuitive. So it does tell you that sometimes you're going to have to go with your guts. Um, okay, so that's the Urania aspect there. By the way, in the world, it could really talk about some extreme weather conditions. For example, in the northern hemisphere, it could be extremely hot. So we might want to be just, getting ready for that too. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because this retrograde Venus is having a opposition to Hygeia. In Hygiea is on 16 degree in this chart, and Venus is on 18 degree. So this would talk to you about preventing to get burnt, preventing to get a sunstroke, and all those type of stuff, probably to hydrate yourself. And, hygiene is about prevention. So what am I going to do to prevent myself from having a stroke, for example, and so forth? So this is a overall, I feel like pretty much of a positive new moon. Of course, it can bring a little bit of a chaotic stuff, for example, in the financial world, or at least the worry about it. But we have been asked, as I said, to tap into your own creativity. Very briefly, I'm going to be mentioning the 12 signs, but only with a couple of sentences. So, Aries rising sign, this is going to be happening in your fifth house, and that's the house of authenticity, holidays, celebration, hobbies. So, you might, and also love and romance as well. So, you know what? This might be telling you to start fresh. For example, start a hobby, do something which you actually truly enjoy. Of course, we've got that Uranian energy, so you might want to start something, but then you say, oh no, this hobby costs a little bit too much. It's out of my comfort zone. It happens in your second house. So, we have got a bit of a trouble. But then Mars actually is helping that Uranus alongside with Mercury. So and it happens in your sixth house. So it might be telling you, you know what, I'm gonna go on holiday, but beforehand, I'm just gonna take on some extra hours, for example. Also, maybe there is this financial little problem going on in your life, and then Mars and Mercury says, you know what, let's just calm down. You know, we can deal with that. Okay, Taurus rising sign. This is going to be happening in your fourth house, house of family, but also something to do with your emotional foundation, with your feelings overall. So it might want you to have a very open conversation, for example, with your family members to kind of start fresh. I mean, Venus wants you to reassess your family life anyway, right? What's my role within my family, and what's their role in my life also? But maybe it's telling you to do a bit of a renovation, for example. Maybe you're gonna be moving, but I feel like maybe this is more to do with something to do with looking at your own family dynamics. Of course, we've got the Uranus square to it, which is actually happening in the first sign, and that Uranus wants you to break away from something which is holding you back. So this is telling you that there is a way to break away from something to do with your family influences, and then you just want to run away. But it also tells you not to run away, stay a little bit longer. Just make sure that you express yourself the way you want to, right? So obviously Venus is retrograde for you. And often it is telling us to look into the mirror, to examine our emotions for a little bit more. Where is this kind of like discomfort coming from? That from having that conversation with a parent of yours yesterday, or it can be dated back way more. Okay, Gemini, rising sign. It is telling you to start looking at the way you approach things in your life. It is asking you to look at whether, you know what, you feel comfortable, for example, in your own skin. What is your mindset? Am I a little bit more on the on the pessimistic? Do I need to let go of some of my attachments? Do am I able to express myself confidently, being true to myself? Also, this is telling you to reflect, how things are changing around you, how you are reacting to. It's so much to do with secrecy for Gemini rising sign. So often this is telling you to let the cat out of the bag. Because Uranus is trying to trigger your secretive self, right? And then it also tells you that sometimes I can only count on myself, and I cannot count on anyone else pretty much. So it is telling you to look at your communication style a little bit. You know what? It's often actually with Uranus and the Mars, sorry, with Uranus and the new moon energy, it's very easy to cat out of the bag. So we can get into gossips. And then Mars trying to Uranus tells you, especially with Vesta sextile from the sign of Gemini as well. Don't get in, and that's in your first house, right? Don't get into gossips. Don't get into arguments, for example. You don't need to prove the point that you are better or worse than others. Just focus on your self development. Cancer rising sign, this is telling you to look at your values, your self-worth, whether you love yourself or truly who you are. Maybe this is a new opportunity for you to start fresh when it comes to your finances, or somehow to create more of an emotional stability or financial stability for yourself. It wants you to be in the leading seat of your finances. So be on top of that. You know what, you put money into something with Venus retrograde there, and then you are not necessarily happy about that anymore. So it says you review the whole thing. And then if you're not happy with it, just take it out, for example. You don't have to be asking others, you don't need the approval of others. But also, this is about re-looking at some of your old talents. You know, I'll give you an example. Today, I had a client, and then I made a suggestion that they should be working together with an XY person. And then she told me, oh, yeah, we did that type of business already 20, 25 years ago. And then I was like, how did it go? You know what? It went pretty well. So if something went well in the past, we're not trying it now as well. Because if it worked once, then it can work the second time as well. Venus retrograde here might be telling you to relook at some of your old talents or abilities. Uh, Maybe it becomes more interesting for you, or maybe in the past it didn't work out, but this time around is the divine timing. Of course, we've got Uranus, which is giving that square to it. So, as we said, Uranus is shaking things up. It is happening in your 11th house, which is your long-term goals. So, all of a sudden, you can have this sudden change of, no, that's my goal now. Oh, we're not friends anymore. Yes, we are friends, right? So, all of a sudden, it can bring in someone special and unique into your social circle as well. And this might be telling you to look at your role in your own community also. Leo rising sign, you know what? You've got basically the new moon happening in your own sign. So basically the first house. And this is an important year for you because you have two of them, right? So first of all, uh, this is truly important for you if you have got your rising sign somewhere I would say between 20 to 26 degree, then you definitely will be feeling this Leo moon, a new moon, quite a lot. And this is telling you to start fresh mentally, physically, emotionally, routine wise. You know what? This is a complete makeover for you. You have got Venus retrograde going on there too, right? Which is actually telling you change your wardrobe, change the way you look at things, change the way you initiate things. We need a big wake, and then Uranus all of a sudden is squaring you as well, right? And Uranus is kind of bringing these, you know what, you don't make the decision because Leo is a fixed sign. Problem, you out of your comfort zone. I'm going to shake things up for you a little bit. And this is happening in 10th house. So it is telling you to embrace your leadership style. You don't need to wait to be promoted. Get yourself and promote yourself. Or you don't need, to sit around and wait, you know, we say in Hungarian, don't wait for the fried pigeon to fly into your mouth, which means that you need to be going after opportunities yours. And I feel like Uranus might be actually a sudden change of job, for example, and opportunities coming up for you. And then we've got this supportive energy of Mars and Mercury, of course, to Uranus, which is actually in your second house. So an opportunity to actually earn more money. Exciting month for you. Virgo rising sign. Um, you know what? This is to be happening in your 12th house, which is about in an ending to something. But also looking at your fears, looking at your obsessions and inhibitions, and also looking at that secret, what you have been holding onto or in for a very long time. Now we had a Vesta, right? I spoke to you about at the beginning of the video, which said focus on your words, focus on the way how you communicate. And the 12th house is really much about the inner demons. So it tells you to look at your internal dialogues a little bit more so that you can see a pattern there. Uh, Often, you know what, you cannot see the patterns that the 12th house says you look for a mystic, look for an astrologer, someone who might be able to guide you somehow, right? And then we have got the Mars and Mercury energy also in your sign, right? It's in the sign of Virgo, which is telling you with Mercury, it's in a planetary joy placement as well in the first house, by the way, which is really much about just pursuing truly my happiness, focusing on the self, being a little bit egotistical, not wanting to help others. But then we've got Uranus in the ninth house, which is like, do I actually believe I'm good? Do I believe I am able to do certain type of things? So in your negative belief system, somehow that Uranus wants to get you out of your mind, and it wants to shake up things for you, how you look at certain type of things. So it tells you to have an open mind because some new opportunities could be popping into your life. Libra rising sign. Uh, this is going to be happening in your 11th house, the house of social media and freedom and communities and your long-term goals, hopes and wishes overall, right? Remember that Venus has been retrograde for a while. So that's the first house ruler. That's the ruler of yours. So it definitely wants you to relook at your friends, relook at your vanity, to relook at the people you hang out with. Do you align with these people? Do they have kind of like a little bit of a different approach to certain type of things? Do you get the support from them, or do you have to be
kind of swallowing and being the peacemaker among your friends overall. I mean, remember that Uranus is squaring you, which is definitely wanting you to kind of get rid of things that are scary, that are not serving you anymore, some type of attachments to these friends, or letting go of a goal which is actually not good for you anymore. So it's so important that you know what you s- you know what you start a new goal, and then you're gonna go with it, and then you kind of never look back to it. Because obviously Uranus is in your eighth house, which is definitely wanting you to break free from your own fear. Scorpio rising sign. So this is very much something to do with to start a work, for example, you truly love, you truly enjoy, and truly you can pour your heart into. So it happens in the house career, right? And maybe you have been applying for jobs for a while with Venus retrograde there, but you got kind of like a nose, and then you knocked down your confidence level a little bit, right? Maybe with Uranus actually from your seventh house, maybe let's say you wanted to start a new job, but then all of a sudden your partner had some type of commitments and then you decided not to. Or maybe actually the partner is telling you that, you know what, this is a huge change. We need to reconsider this. We need to reassess things. I mean, remember that Venus has been retrograde since July, so it wants you to look at your professions, but also wants you to look at your connections to professional people overall. Also, this could easily talk to you about that you are a lot more talented than you are. You just need to awaken somehow that inner leader within you, that you are deserving recognition and somehow to be celebrated for your successes. And then we have got that Mars and Mercury energy, which is actually in the community department of your chart. So you know what? The friends can be supportive, your siblings can be supportive, or just the community you live in. So let's say you are looking for a job, that Mercury and Mars is telling you that, you know what? Some of my friends, siblings, or someone in the community actually can give me a hand. Sagittarius rising. So one of the question which is going to come up to you is that are you not adventurous? Why are you not living up to the fullest of potentials of your own? Why are you not as big as you wish to be? Right, so obviously the new moon will be trining your rising sign, especially if your rising sign is somewhere between 20 to 26 degrees. And maybe the real you is someone who travels, who has fun, and so on. And then Leo is actually emphasizing that for you to get in touch with the Sagittarius side of your life. Take risks. It tells you big dream, dream big, right? Jupiter rules you, right? Which is in the sign of Taurus, within about 9 degrees away from Uranus, right? So definitely Uranus is actually having an in conjunction to Jupiter. So to, not Jupiter, sorry, to Sagittarius rising. So to get out of our comfort zone could be a bit of a challenge here, right? To change your perspective over certain type of things. And it is happening actually in the sixth sign from your rising sign. So it wants us to change our ways, the routines. We don't need to be stagnant about them, or just maybe we need to be, I don't know, starting a new sport routine, for example, because you've been doing the same one for a while and then it's just not working for you. You have got this Mars and Mercury going on, for example, in your 10th house. So this would talk to you about, you know what, we just have to get things moving. We're going to have to work a little bit. We're going to have to focus on work a little bit too. So I feel like for you, this is going to be the balance between your professional and and kind of like the fun side of you and how to bring a bit of a balance there. Capricorn rising sign, this could talk to you about something to do with, again, money related matters, something to do with businesses, for example, something around, I mean, it happens in your eighth sign, right? So that could talk about investment related matters, but also intimacy, also something to do with sharing and caring in a way. So that's why it rules joint efforts, for example. So coupling up with someone, and then you know what, I cannot lift that stone up on my own. So I'm actually going to get someone to help me with that. Right, so this could talk to you about re-looking at whether you have got the ability to ask for help. For often it is a financial help, actually. Often this is your relationship struggles. Often this is something to do with commitment matters as well. Right, Uranus is also in the picture, squaring this new moon energy. And this is actually wanting you to take things not so seriously. Now, Capricorn, that is a challenging one for you, right? It is also, Uranus might want you to change your opinion or change your, basically, your change of heart overall. Aquarius rising sign, um, committed partnership is going to be one of the major topic for you. And of course, Venus has been retrograde also in the seventh house. So are we actually wanting someone come back into our life? Or are we do we gonna have to look at our attachment styles? Do we gonna have to look at why we are single? Or do we have to look at why we are in a relationship? New moon here can indicate, for example, the beginning of a new partnership or relationship, but probably you are also somehow looking for some type of harmony within yourself and within others as well. This is telling you that you might need to put your vanity a little bit aside or your pride, and sometimes you're going to have to compromise. Sometimes you're going to have to find the golden middle road, come up with some type of agreements. So you might want to be looking at especially what has been going on in your relationship department since Venus went retrograde here, because that is going to get highlighted for you this time around. You know, and then we have got the Uranus influence as well, right? Which is actually bringing an unexpected situation into your relationship department, for example. Something, you know, you are about to kind of decide whether we're going to stay together or get separated. And then all of a sudden, something happens. And that something could be happening, for example, in your home environment. And all of a sudden, I don't know, you have got a leakage going on, and then you're gonna have to move to your partner. But actually, I did know, I never wanted to move there because I wanted to break up, for example. Yes, some of you might be actually experiencing some type of breakup or just to get to know someone new. And last but not least, rising sign. This is telling you, I mean, it's going to be happening in your sixth house, which is the house of health, work, and your routines overall. But what you do on a daily basis. So you know what, Venus retrograde has been wanting you to look at whether, let's say, the fitness regime you follow is the right one for you or not. Now, this actually highlighting that. So it might, together, it might want you to start kind of like coming up with a new way of, approaching the fitness industry, for example. Also, it is telling you to be in the driving seat of your own health. So it's about practicality, preventions. What can we do to feel better? Also, this could talk to you about, let's say, being bored, not necessarily mentally being stimulated by others. So what's going to happen is we're craving to be somewhere else as well. Uranus has been going on in your third house, right? Which is trying to kind of like wake up your communication process a little bit more. It is often actually kind of like a flashes of insight you download, but you might not be able to make sense of it. Esther in the sign of Gemini comes into the picture because it is pretty much tells you to focus, and then you will be able to give the translation. You will understand everything. So, guys, this was my forecast on the upcoming new moon in the sign of Leo, and I'm really hoping to see you in Mexico. Take care. Bye bye.